I can wait a few emails, just,
And
no problem.
I think everybody's
No
here.
problem, just email it to me too, and
gonna
I
open
think
the
I get it
door.
anyway, so just, all right, thanks, honey. All right, bye.
And
Bye.
Ernest Joseph? Ernest Joseph?
Is here present, Judge Amin?
Good morning, Mr. Romero. How are you?
Good morning, Judge.
That's a very handsome sweater you have on today.
Thank you, Judge. That's a very nice robe you have on.
Thank you. It's different from the one yesterday. Okay, on Mr. Joseph, good morning, sir. You are being held no bond on an out-of-state hold from Louisiana, and you'll be going to extradition court, okay? Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, I got a call from the North Broward Detention Center. There's a case they'd like to have called out of turn if possible.
No problem. We're going there right now.
It's on page 11, Mr. Voltaire.
Your Honor?
Yes, sir. Mr. Voltaire there? I just need to find his.
We had to bring Mr. Voltaire back.
All right. Okay, Deputy.
Yes.
All right, then, Judge, I guess he'll be a medical reset. I'd ask him to be set for tomorrow.
Okay, on Jack Voltaire on page 11, we're going to do a medical reset for tomorrow morning. Thank you, Mr. Reedy. And Sarah Zaki?
North Broward.
She's approaching.
Okay. Ms. Zaki, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Ma'am, you're being held no bond on a warrant for a violation of pretrial release. I think it's signed by Judge McHugh. You're also being held on a violation of injunction for protection against domestic violence. We're here to set bond on that. Does the defense have a recommendation?
I'd ask for a nominal bond, Judge. I think the alleged victim in the case is her father.
Yes.
I explained to Ms. Zaki that she's going to have to go in front of Judge McHugh anyway. I'd ask for a $500 bond or
Any
a
objection?
$100 bond, whatever.
Any objection, State? Okay, I'm going to set a $500 bond on that. Ms. Zaki, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think she's already pretty
She's
well
already on
under
that.
orders not to have contact with the victim.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Weeks, can we help you, or do you need some time?
Hey, hold on one second.
Josh Riddell asked me
You're going to
to
record his case reports,
stand in
and then
for
here.
him.
BCCN,
His name is
and-
Mr.
hold on.
Ostrick,
BCCN, and then just-
Ostojic,
Okay,
Milan Ostrick.
if you'll give me 1 second to try to find it.
It looks like a battery on a 65-year-old person. I think he's also over 65. It's one of these living in a
I remember reading that.
He's on page 11.
Okay, let me just keep going here. It's Ostrich,
You need the PC, yeah.
I found it, okay. It's Milan Ostrich? Yeah.
Okay.
Milan Ostrich, is he at Maine? Are you Mr. Ostrich, sir?
I am.
Okay. Mr. Ostrich, there is an attorney here, Mr. Weeks, who's standing in for
Josh Riddell.
Josh Rydell.
Don't say anything, okay, sir?
Mr. Ostrich, you are charged with battery on a person 65 years of age or older. I have read the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. We're here to set bond. Mr. Weeks, have you been able to talk to Mr. Ostrich?
George, I haven't been able to talk to him at the jail, but I know all about his history. He's got no history. He works as basically the caretaker at the facility in reference to where this alleged incident took place. The alleged victim in this case also, I guess, lives there. They live in a 65-year or 55-year an age older unit.
Okay.
And
No priors?
no priors, Judge. And I'm asking Judge, I'm asking, due to this, I'm asking for either ROR and just no contact with the victim. They obviously live and work in the same area. This occurred in a laundry room at that area, and I just think it's two individuals that got into a little bit of a
Okay.
disagreement.
Mr. Ostojek, if I released you to your home, would you be able to stay away from Mr. Sabo?
Certainly, sir, yes.
Do you live near each other?
We're in fairly close proximity, sir.
Okay, so I can't do the 500 yards or
Well,
more.
how close are you, sir? How close are your apartments?
About 500 yards, yeah.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do, unless the state has an objection. I'm going to release him on his own recognizance, but I'm going to place him on standard pretrial release. He is to report by phone every week, and the condition is, under the standard pretrial release, he is to have no contact in any form or manner with Israel Sabo. Mr. Ostrick, I understand under your living conditions, you may have common areas that you both use, such as the laundry room and the pool and things like that. But it is your obligation, because I have no jurisdiction over Mr. Sabo, I only have jurisdiction over you. You must understand that you must not have any contact with him. So if he's in the laundry room and you go into the laundry room, it is your obligation to leave. If you go to the pool, he's at the pool, it's your obligation to leave. If he approaches you or comes to your door, you don't answer the door. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. When you're released, sir, we're going to give you directions to the pretrial release division, which is across the street, and you must report in person initially, okay?
Thank you.
And by phone. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I have one more, but I need to read the PC.
Okay.
It's a little bit more.
Gina Luzzy?
He's in North Broward, Your Honor.
Miss Leslie, good morning. I'm sorry about that. Miss Leslie, you're charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause.
Might be the next
Your
one.
bond is $100.
This guy?
Okay.
Oh, Renell.
He does have an open case.
He should be coming up. Here he is.
At this time, the case number is 17-12347 CF10A. 1 count of possession of cocaine and 1 count of possession of paraphernalia. She was released on pretrial on the 13th of November. I'm informing the court, Your Honor, because I do not see where the case has been filed. So I'm just letting the court know, and the court can.
The felony has not been filed?
Yes, Your Honor, the case that she is out on, I do not show where it has yet been filed. So I'm merely informing the court. I know
But she's
some-
on pretrial release on that
Yes,
case?
Your Honor, she is.
Has
And
there been a violation? I mean, has there been a warrant issued or
No,
signed?
well, she just came in today on this new charge. So the fact that she's here with us today is the reason why we would even bring it before the court.
Okay, well, I certainly find that she is in violation of her pretrial release. If you want me to sign an order revoking her pretrial release on the felony case, I will do so. And I will set a bond in this case of, well, the bond is set of $100.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, it is. Go ahead.
17-12347.
Miss Leslie, you are going to be held no bond until you go before the felony court judge, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Your bond on this case is $100.
I'll call your mom for you, Gina.
Thank you.
Kimberly Osborne?
Miss Leslie, maybe, hold on, Miss Gina, could you come back 1 second? There's a drug program in the jail called the SAP program. Would you be interested in something like that?
Well, how long is it gonna take before I go before the judge?
Don't know. But it wouldn't matter. Being in the SAP program would not affect your release if you were released.
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right, good luck, Gina. I'll call your mom for you.
Kimberly Osborne?
Miss Osborne here, present at the Maine jail. She declined the services of public defense judge at Maine.
Thank you very much. Miss Osborne, you're being charged with neglect of a child without great bodily harm. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit, find probable cause. You're being held no bond on a violation of probation. You're scheduled to appear before the judge on January 9th at 8:30. That would be Judge Rothschild. And I'm going to set a bond on the neglect of the child of $1,000. Okay? Thank you, ma'am.
Is there by any chance I can, get released today on pretrial so I can go to court with him at 1 o'clock?
No, ma'am, you are being held no bond on a violation of probation by Judge Rothschild. I cannot change that.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're scheduled to appear before him on January 9th, which is a Tuesday, I believe.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I just heard from the jail that Ms. Luzzy has had a change of heart regarding the SAP program,
Okay,
and I'd like to thank pretrial release for making that suggestion. So I'm gonna ask the court to sign an order allowing her into the SAP program.
I will do that.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Maine. And Hannah Zawisklak?
She's approaching, Judge. She's here, I mean. Come on up now.
Ma'am, I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. Is it Zawislak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wow, okay, good guess. Ms. Zawislak, you are being charged with grand theft auto. Your bond is $1,000. I read the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. You're also being held no bond at the present time on a violation of probation. You're scheduled to appear before Judge Fine on January 22nd at 8:45 a.m. Okay? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Which one? You got it? Okay. Okay, yes, Mr. Weeks?
It's Renell Anthonor, Judge. Mr. Anthonor is on page 17 of your docket.
And that's with an A?
Yes, Anthenor.
Okay.
It looks like he already has bonds, Judge. I don't know if you have the ability to reduce those bonds. It looked like Judge Porth might have signed a warrant for the case, but the PC really doesn't have much on it. I don't have the,
Who is this?
I'll have to look, but it's probably, is it Adam Andajar?
no, Renell Anthonor, the bottom of page 17.
Yeah, I just have to go through all of these to find everything, so here it is, Renell Anthonor. Are you Mr. Anthonor, sir? I don't think that the speaker is on.
You don't have the warrant to arrest?
No, all I have is,
There's a warrant to arrest paper.
Yeah.
There's a warrant, but
They won't have it. You need to know. Yeah, we'll give you a copy.
thanks.
there is a warrant, but I think it is there was no previous hearing on the bond, it was just set by the judge, is what I'm thinking. In other words, the case was presented to the judge. The judge found probable cause, so that's already done. He's signed a warrant to arrest, but he just set a bond on all three counts without a hearing. So we can go forward with a hearing if you would like, or you can take it before the judge.
Judge, I would like to go forward and try to ask you to lower these bonds in reference to this. He actually turned himself in yesterday when the police came and around the neighborhood asking individuals for him. So obviously he's not a flight risk. He actually went to the Fort Lauderdale Police Department when they called him, and he turned himself in. So
Okay, so when they say they located at 1300 West Broward Boulevard, that's City of Fort Lauderdale Police Department.
that is, he actually came there to turn himself in yesterday
Okay,
after speaking with me, and so
okay. So the court does not have any narrative indicating the facts of the case. All I have is the warrant to arrest and the setting of the bonds. So I really don't know the facts. Does anybody have?
The affidavit of warrant,
Yes.
you have all that? Or no?
I just have the warrant. I don't have the affidavits.
Give that-
And
I'll get you a copy.
Mr. Weeks, can you give me a background on him? Is he married? Where does he live?
Judge, he's lived in Fort Lauderdale his whole life. He has a girlfriend. He's basically the last couple months doing odd jobs. He's been in and out.
Does he have family in the area?
He's got numerous family members in the area, along with a brother that's been here for a long time as well.
Okay, if you'll just give me 1 second. And before I do that, what kind of bond are you looking for?
You sure?
Appropriate on the case is, on the great bodily harm case, I would be asking for $15,000, $10,000 on the deadly missile case, and $5,000 on the possession of ammo by convicted felons.
Okay, it says here ag battery with a deadly weapon. I think that's,
Right, that's what I'm talking about. Deadly weapon, I'd ask for $15,000.
okay.
$10,000 on count 2 and $5,000 on count 3, with a grand total of, that would be $30,000, Judge.
Okay, in state, what are you looking for on this? Do you know?
Yes, Judge, do you have the affidavit that
I,
goes with?
I have it, I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
I just thought if both sides agree to it, then I won't read it. If not, then I'm going to read this.
What'd you ask for?
I asked for altogether a grand total of 30, 15, 10, and 5. $5,000 is the normal bond anyway in count 3, so.
Does he have any priors?
I'm pulling him up right now.
Yes, Judge.
He does, Judge.
In Broward, 2013, selling or delivery of cocaine adjudicated. 2012, selling or delivery of cocaine near a child care center adjudicated. 2011, tampering or fabricating evidence, resisting without violence, expired registry. I'm sorry, just the tampering and resisting adjudicated. 2011, burglary dwelling adjudicated. 2009, loitering and prowling and resisting adjudicated. 2008, unlawful use of a false name or identity, which was declined. 2005, possession of cannabis adjudicated. 2006, delivery of cocaine adjudicated. Let's see. 2003, resisting and loitering and prowling adjudicated. And some other misdemeanors. We don't see anything outside of Broward.
Okay.
Judge's state would ask for a $50,000 bond on count 1.
15?
50.
50. Okay, what I'm going to do is I am going to set a bond on count 1 of $30,000, on count 2, $25,000, and on count 3, $5,000. If he does post a bond and he is released, he is to be on level 1 pretrial release with the monitor, house arrest, and he is to have no contact in any form or manner with Fabrice, Lee, or Rusty. I here I can give you this.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you.
All right, this will help you also.
And I will return it all to the court.
Okay. Mr. Anthony, do you have any questions, sir? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge, very much. Have a good weekend.
You too. Shakisha Pinkney? Shakisha Pinkney?
She's here, Amanda.
Oh, Ms. Pinkney, good morning. Ms. Pinkney, you're being held no bond on a violation of probation. You are scheduled to appear before Judge Merrigan on January 9th at 8:45 a.m. Thank you. Shatavia Robinson?
She's here.
Ms. Robinson, you're being held no bond on a violation of probation. You're scheduled to appear before the judge on January 9th at 8:30 a.m., and it would be before Judge Bailey. Thank you. Annette Cave?
North Broward.
Okay, Ms. Cave, you're presently charged with burglary of a structure or conveyance armed. When I read the probable cause affidavit, I did not see a probable cause for a burglary, but I did see probable cause for a armed trespass, which is a third-degree felony, and criminal mischief, which in your case would be a first-degree misdemeanor. State, any argument or objection regarding that? And the reason I didn't find a burglary is there's no evidence of the intent to commit an offense. It doesn't indicate that the knife was taken from the location. There's no indication of any offense.
Who's pressing any of these
No, no,
charges?
no.
Let's not say anything right now, Annette.
After she had been evicted on, let's see, yesterday, I believe that the offense that was intended was the trespass.
Your Honor, she was here on the 3rd. You saw her here, she was arrested and she bonded out for $25. You saw her this week.
You mean on another case?
Yes, Your Honor, she bonded out for $25. You remember her?
What was the other case?
A
Trespass.
trespass.
What
At the
was
same location?
The address?
Yes.
Yeah. She went back there.
I believe there's a dispute over the ownership of the property.
Right. Okay, so I didn't put her on pretrial release or anything, just a $25 bond.
And you told her no return to the place.
Nobody told me anything. I didn't.
Ms. Cave, now is not the time for you to say anything, with all due respect, ma'am.
Okay. I
Okay,
didn't speak.
Ms. Cave, listen to me for a minute, okay? The location where this occurred, is that where you live?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was.
Now, listen to me, just answer my question. Do you have all your personal belongings there?
No, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
You do?
I have all my personal belongings, sir.
Okay, do you have another place to live?
I could find one.
Well, that's what you're gonna have to do if I release you. I'm gonna order that you not return there unless you return with a police officer to get your personal belongings. That's the only manner that you can return there. You're gonna have to live somewhere else. I'm gonna find probable cause for the third-degree felony of trespass with a weapon. It's a knife.
I didn't have any.
Now, listen to me.
Ms. Cave, please, first rule of law school, when you're winning, stop talking.
Okay? And I'm gonna find probable cause for criminal mischief. Ms. Cave, can you post any type of bond, either you or your family or friends?
For how much?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
I mean, I gotta ask, like, they stole money from my house, okay, I don't have my purse, it's like I was stuck on a street, and that's why I went in my house.
Ms. Cave,
My purse, my
Ms.
phone.
Cave,
Ms. Cave, listen to the judge's question, please.
it's a simple,
I don't know, most likely.
Listen to the judge's question, Ms. Cave.
That's what I said.
here's my question. My question is, do you have family or friends, or are you personally able to post a monetary bond?
Well, I can't post it from here without my money, my card, my purse, or anything like that. So how would I do it?
Do you have those in property here at the jail?
There's something, no, not at this jail, no. The Wilton Manors has my purse, they didn't even leave me nothing. He has $100 and I don't know where it went.
Okay, what I'm going to do is set a $500 bond on the trespass and a $100 bond on the criminal mischief. If she is released,
But what if that's my property?
listen to me,
Sorry.
ma'am. If she does post the bond, she is to be supervised by pretrial release. She is to report once a week in person, and she is to not go back to, it looks like, 2364 Wilton Drive. And I guess that's in
It's in Wilton Manors.
Wilton Manors, Florida. Ma'am, you cannot go back there unless you are escorted by a law
I
enforcement,
understand that, and unless I get a win, yes.
unless you are escorted by a law enforcement officer. Do you understand? And
I
you're,
do understand what you're saying.
okay, and you're not to have any contact with the people there, okay?
Well, there's nobody there.
Okay, so that's a condition of your bond, and hopefully
But all
you'll
my
be able
stuff
to
is
abide by that. Thank you,
Judge,
ma'am.
It would just be the $500 bond on the trespass because there's no criminal mischief charge, so there wouldn't be a bond on it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, you're correct. Okay, thank you for correcting me on that. Ma'am, it's just $500 bond on the trespass with a weapon and a
They have to be
pretrial release.
trespassing on property.
Okay. Rebecca Smith?
North Broward.
Ms. Smith, good morning. You are charged with possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. Your total bond at this time is $1,000. Are you going to be able to make that?
Ms. Smith indicated her brother is going to be bonding her out. I'm going to give him a call to make sure.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. And Ashley Magia? Ms. Magia, you are being held no bond on a violation of community control. You're scheduled to appear before the judge on January 9th, before Judge Duffy at 9 a.m. Thank you, ma'am.
Good luck, ma'am.
Bella Sotir?
Yes, sir, I would,
Mr. Sotir, you are charged with trespass. Your bond is $25. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. Are you going to be able to make the $25 bond?
not right now. Judge, Mr. Soter had a conversation with me, and he's advised me to ask Your Honor if he would consider resolving his case today for time served.
Any objection, State?
No, Judge.
Mr. Soter, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you're waiving your right to an attorney in the trial? To resolve the
Yes, sir.
case? Is anybody forcing you to do this?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Ever been treated for a mental illness?
No, sir.
Do you have any questions regarding any rights you're giving up today?
Exactly, what rights am I giving up? I'm sorry.
You're giving up your right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, I would appoint the public defender. And you're giving up your right to a trial where the state would have to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt.
It's probably easy, probably just try to bond out, right? Better?
Well, the bond is $25. Can you make that?
Probably better to bond out, try to bond out. Hold on one second, Judge.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Judge, after speaking with Salter, I believe he was just a little bit confused. I've had a chance to speak to him once more. I asked him if he wanted to try and fight the case. In that case, I could try, ask Your Honor for a potential ROR. Mr. Sauter did clearly tell me this time he does not wish to fight the case. He wants to resolve it with a plea of no contest and getting
Okay.
the time served today.
Thank you, Mr. Romero, for your help. I appreciate it. Mr. Soter, are you pleading no contest to one count of trespass at the Walmart?
Yes, sir.
The court's going to accept your plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court is going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to time served, order court costs of $293. I'm going to give you 6 months to pay that, and I'm going to order that you do not return to the Walmart located at 7900 West McNabb Road in North Lauderdale, Florida. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I get released today?
If you have no other wants or holds on you, that's correct. Dwight Daly?
He's here, present, Judge.
Mr. Daly, you are charged with possession of cannabis, less than 20 grams. I find probable cause. Your bond is set at $100. You're also charged with driving while license suspended with knowledge. I find probable cause. And you're also charged with failing to register a motor vehicle or driving a motor vehicle that was not registered. I find probable cause. You're also being held on a $500 bond for a criminal traffic case, which is driving while license suspended. I can't tell you who the judge is. So your total bond at this time is $600.
Judge, as being Mr. Daly, he does not wish to resolve his case. He's going to have a friend try and post his monetary bond. I understand you really can't do much on count 4 on the outstanding capias, but considering count 1 is a possession of cannabis charge, would you consider an ROR on count 1 so his friend could post the monetary bond on count 4?
Any objection, State? I'm going to grant that. I'm going to release him on his own recognizance on the possession of cannabis. He still has to post the $500 bond. Mr. Daly, I also want to tell you that you have a prior conviction for driving while license suspended in 2016. And if you are convicted of both of these, even if the court withholds adjudication, you're looking at having your license revoked as an habitual traffic offender. Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And Tremaine Blakely? Mr. Blakely, you're being charged with resisting or obstructing without violence. I read the probable cause affidavit, and I find no probable cause. The reason being is that I did not see that you were ordered to stop or violated any other order of the police officer at the time that you fled. I do find probable cause for the trespass. I'm going to set a bond of in the trespass of $100, and I am going to ROR you on the resisting or obstructing without violence. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Judge, right now, and speaking of Mr. Blakely, he's 18 years old. From what he informed me, he's going to Broward College. He's a student. Considering on count 1, the ROR, and the trespass being a nonviolent offense, would you consider an ROR on Mr. Blakely's behalf on count 2? He still have to come to court. He would still have his day in court. So that's the base of our request, Judge.
I would place him on pretrial release. Does he want that?
Let me talk to him.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No PC on the resisting or obstructing without violence.
No, thank you, Judge.
Okay,
You're welcome.
so it's a $100 bond on count 2, ROR on count 1. Tony Neal?
Judge, this is a municipal ordinance, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Romero. Mr. Neal, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay, sir.
Good, good. You are being held on a $100 bond for an outstanding capias on a municipal ordinance case. The violation of the charge is soliciting without a permit on public roadways.
That's right.
Would you like to resolve that today, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody forcing you to resolve the case today?
No, nobody not.
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
No, I'm not.
Ever been treated for a mental illness?
No, sir.
And do you understand that you're waiving your right both to an attorney and to trial?
That's right. I understand.
Okay, and are you pleading no contest to soliciting on a public highway without a permit?
Yes, I am.
The court's going to accept your plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court is going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to time served. I must order court costs of $100, and I'm going to give you a year to pay that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Frank Daschel?
This is a municipal ordinance case, Judge?
Right, it's a municipal case, right?
Yes.
Mr. Daschel, you're being held on a $100 bond on a petty theft in violation of a municipal ordinance, and it stems out of a Shell gas station. I do find probable cause. Are you going to be able to make that bond, sir, of $100?
No, sir, I won't.
Would you like to resolve this today, or would you like to go on pretrial release?
I would like to resolve this today, sir, if I can.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody forcing you to resolve the case?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Ever been treated for a mental illness?
No, sir.
And you're waiving your right to an attorney into trial?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading no contest to the charge of petty theft in violation of a municipal ordinance?
Yes, sir. I'm pleading no contest.
The court's going to accept your plea, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court's going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to time served. I must order court costs of $293. I'm going to give you a year to pay that. You can make periodic payments to the clerk of court, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right.
Robert Rincon?
Judge, he's approaching. He declined the service of public defender.
Okay, Mr. Rincon, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes. Mr. Rincon, your bond has been posted. You're going to be released.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. What about Rosny Abraham?
Judge, I've been informed he was released.
Okay, Mr. Abraham has been released. Errol Wallace?
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Wallace, good morning, sir. You are being held on a petty theft, and a second-degree misdemeanor, and resisting or obstructing without violence. I find probable cause. Your total bond is set at $100. Are you going to be able to make that?
No, I can't pay because I ain't got no money, sir.
Okay.
Judge, however, Mr. Wallace did also indicate to me he wishes to try and resolve this case today.
Okay, just give me 1 second.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Judge, he has a 2007 prior theft that was adjudicated.
Mr. Wallace, what I would do is can you hear me all right?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, I want you to listen carefully, okay?
Yes, sir.
If you want to resolve this case today and plead open to the court and waive your right to an attorney in a trial, I would adjudicate you guilty on both cases, on both counts. I would give you time served on the petty theft, which involves $43. But on the resisting, I'm going to give you 5 days with credit for time served. But you would have to serve a total of 5 days, and the court cost would be $293.
Judge, let me talk to him and see if that's what he wishes to do.
Okay.
respectfully, I've been going a little bit back and forth with Mr. Wallace. I don't think he's too sure that he wants to resolve his case. So in the abundance of caution, just be asking you to consider is, releasing Mr. Wallace ROR. My understanding, and to standard pretrial. He is homeless. However, he did tell me that he'd still report, he could still, be supervised.
Okay.
He'll come to court. So
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ROR him on count 1, but I'm gonna leave the $100 bond on count 2. But if he is released, he is to report to pretrial release, he is to be supervised in standard pretrial release, and he is to report once a week. Okay, thank you. Prince Potier? Brian, didn't you order a sign person?
What?
He does not. Okay, all right, I just. Okay.
Judge, Mr. Portier is here present, he declined the service of public defender.
Okay, Mr. Portier, you are charged with failing to return a motor vehicle that you had rented. That is a third-degree felony. I find probable cause after reading the probable cause affidavit. Your bond is $1,000. Okay, sir? Thank you. Michael McCutcheon? Mr. McCutcheon, you are charged with burglary of an occupied structure unarmed, and you're also charged with criminal mischief. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause, and I'm going to hear argument regarding setting bond. You're also being held pursuant to a DUI case, outstanding capiases, with $1,500, there's 4 counts, and there's $1,500 bond has already been set by the judge on each count. Mr. Romero, as far as the burglary and the criminal mischief?
Judge, yes, I understand that we're starting off on counts 3, 4, 5, and 6 already with the $6,000 bond in place.
Right.
And speaking of Hutchin, he's 48 years old, he's been residing here his whole entire life. He's currently working, he works for Don's Plumbing, he just started. It's a good paying job, he's gonna be making $20 an hour. Since he just started, he hasn't had time or opportunity to save up. Right now, he's living in Fort Lauderdale, but he's in the process of being evicted. So he is gonna be evicted, however, he's going to be residing with his mother who resides in Davie. That's where he's gonna be residing, Judge. His mother is the person that he's gonna be contacting to post his monetary bond, but she's self-employed, she kinda fixes computers when she can. So her funds are not unlimited. Judge, respectfully, considering on the third-degree felony on count 1, we'd be asking you to set $1,000 bond on count 1 along with the $6,000. That would be a total of $7,000 on Mr. McCutcheon's behalf.
And on the criminal mischief?
I would be requesting an ROR on the criminal mischief, Judge.
Ms. Shear, any input on this? No?
Yes, Judge, he has, one prior 1993 no valid driver's license, which was adjudicated. I defer to the court.
Okay, my only concern is his failure to appear history on that other case. But what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna set $1,000 bond on count 1, $500 bond on count 2. If he is released, he is to be supervised by pretrial release, standard pretrial release, and he is to report by phone once a week and in person once a month.
And Your Honor, that's only on count 1 and 2 that he's being placed on pretrial supervision, is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Keon Mack?
He's here present, Judge.
Mr. Mack, you're,
Decline the service to the public defender.
okay. Mr. Mack, you're being held no bond on violation of probation. You are scheduled to appear before Judge Fine on January 12th at 8:45 a.m. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And what about Antoine Mays?
Did you have before, Your Honor?
Antoine Mays?
Did you have facts in the case?
Oh, Judge, I've been informed, I believe he's in regular court.
Oh.
I don't know which courtroom or in reference to what?
Okay, it's probably in front of Judge Tobin Singer. And, I'm sorry, what,
I'm sorry, I printed out some facts because it was an AF warrant. I don't know if you had it.
on this?
Yes.
But he's apparently not here.
Okay. Be set for tomorrow.
Deputy Rochelle Randall Taylor, I didn't even see you sitting over there. Good morning, how are you? I've missed you all this time.
Are you just passing it through, Judge, or we sending it to tomorrow?
Well, I think he is appearing before Judge Tobin Singer today, is my understanding.
But he also has some matters, no bond holds in front of Judge Cholera, and I just, in the abundance of caution, ask you to reset him for tomorrow.
That's a good idea. I will. Okay, thank you, Mr. Reed.
Yes, Judge, he's in front of Judge Siegel right now.
Oh, he is in front of Judge Siegel. In an abundance of caution, just to make sure that he was seen. Justin Roman, are you Mr. Roman, sir?
He's
Yes,
here
sir.
present, Judge. He declined to serve as a public defender.
Okay, Mr. Roman, you're being held no bond on a misdemeanor case and a felony case on an outstanding capias. You're scheduled to appear before Judge Tobin Singer on the misdemeanor case on January 9th, 2018 at 1:30 p.m. That would be Judge Zeller. And you're to appear before Judge Tobin Singer on the felony case on January 10th at 2 p.m. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ian Champagne? Mr. Champagne, good morning, sir. You're being held no bond on a violation of probation. You're scheduled to appear before Judge Duffy on January 9th at 9 a.m.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Darren Isom?
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Isom, you're being held on a possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. Your bond is set at $100. I do find probable cause. You're also being held no bond on a violation of probation or community control. It looks like there's 2 violations on the same case. But anyways, one violation has a $1,000 bond. You're being held no bond on the other violation. You're scheduled to appear before the judge, which is Judge Bailey, on January 9th at 8:30 a.m. Okay, thank you. James Hines? Mr. Hines, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Hines, you're being held on a misdemeanor outstanding capias with a bond of $250, and you have a hold by the federal marshals with no bond for a federal
Send me
case.
in federal prison now.
I'm sorry?
Send me in federal prison now. Can I resolve this?
No.
No?
Okay,
Wait, you're.
thank you, sir.
No.
I better.
The next is Dwayne Jones. Dwayne Jones.
He's Dwayne Jones? He's approaching, Judge.
Okay,
My
thank you.
understanding is, I'm a little bit confused as far as why he's here. I know he was arrested yesterday in the courthouse. He was before Judge Horry. And my understanding is Judge Horry already dealt with this, placed him on pretrial level 2.
On these cases.
So he's just waiting to be released on pretrial.
Yes.
I don't have that. Your Honor, I have that he is on pretrial supervision in 173517 CF10A. Was placed on pretrial March 26, 2017. I have that the date of incident from this instant case looks like April 11th. If that is the case, then the defendant has violated his pretrial supervision, and I'm gonna ask that his pretrial status be revoked.
Well,
I don't know if that would be premature, because even the docket which I'm looking at indicates, and maybe corroborates part of Mr. Jones's, what he's telling me, he was arrested in the courthouse. Usually, when they appear before their judge, for whatever reason, he was taken into custody. He was informed that he was placed on level 2 pretrial with a monitor.
Judge, he was arrested in the courthouse yesterday. It was at a calendar call. And he was placed on pretrial in that other case on March 27th.
That's what I have, is what Mr. Romero is telling me. I also see it on the Capias, ROR to pretrial level 2 on both counts. Dealing in stolen property and false information.
The only thing
And it's signed by Judge Howery. Go ahead.
Judge, the only thing I can think what the holdup is, if he was placed yesterday on level 2 pretrial, they're probably trying to contact his family members to see where he's gonna be living. He said he gave the phone number of his mother, and he doesn't know why his mother maybe hasn't spoken to him yet, but he also has the contact number of his father that he can give. So since there's a pretrial representative, I can give the phone number of his father, so there's twice as more possibilities, hopefully, be contacting a family member, him being released that much sooner.
After the case is processed and it's ready for release, then someone will come and contact him. I can't do anything with that information right now until this is processed. Only information I had right now was the fact that he was on pretrial since March, and this new instant case should have been a revocation. So
I'm gonna leave that to Judge Howery.
I
I'm going
understand,
to
and
abide
I
by
will
his.
contact someone.
I'm gonna abide by his order. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Judge.
Larry Sylvester?
North Broward.
Judge, he's hard of hearing, he only reads lips.
Oh, okay.
I'm legally deaf, sir.
Okay, Mr. Sylvester, can you hear me?
I hear you, but I'm trying to read your lips, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm gonna talk slowly, okay?
Okay, thank you.
If you don't understand something, let me know.
I'm gonna let you repeat it there, sir.
You are being held for possession of cocaine
Right, sir.
and resisting or obstructing without violence.
Yes, sir.
And I find probable cause. Your total bond is $1,000. Are you gonna be able to make that?
No, I'm not, sir. I was hoping to get maybe pre-trial, somebody was talking about that. I don't understand it.
Okay, State, do you have any objection to that?
Does he have any priors? Or just, we're just looking at his priors.
Mr. Sylvester, are you in treatment anywhere?
I'm not doing drugs, sir. I smoke a little weed once in a blue moon, and that's it. If you watch the video, the sergeant who came and watched the
No,
video.
Don't talk about the facts of the case, Mr. Sylvester.
No objection, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Sylvester, what I'm going to do is this. I'm gonna release you on your own recognizance on both counts. But
Okay.
but you are going to be supervised by pretrial release.
That sounds fine.
Okay?
That mean-
You have to report to them. Do you have a phone?
Yeah, I have a phone. It's in my van, sir.
Okay. You have to report to them by phone once a week, and you have to
Okay.
report by them in person once a month.
I have no problem with that, sir.
Okay, now listen to me.
Yes.
As a condition of your pretrial release,
Yes.
you cannot ingest any alcohol or drugs without a prescription,
I don't do, I do
Okay.
drink anyway, sir.
and you are to be randomly tested twice a month.
And I have no problem with that, sir.
Okay, when you're released, you have to go over to pretrial release and sign in, and we're gonna give you directions there, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's our order, pretrial judge.
ROR pretrial, report once a week by phone, once a month in person, and, no drugs or alcohol, and, random twice a month. Abiyami Abibola. Mr. Abimbola? No? Going once?
Approaching, Judge.
Okay.
Decline the services of public defender. offender.
All right. Mr. Abibola, you are charged with trespass of an unoccupied structure. I find probable cause, your bond is at $25. You're being held no bond, it looks like on two cases, one on 2014, one on 2017. You're scheduled to appear before the judge on those cases, which is Judge Duffy, on January 9th at 9 a.m. Okay, thank you. Wait, I'm sorry?
Oh, just like.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the 17 should be a 14. Okay. Thank you. Carmen Smith? Mr. Smith, you are presently charged with aggravated battery causing great bodily harm and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. I reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I don't find probable cause on those two counts.
Judge, could you, repeat what you said as far as what count 2 is?
Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill.
To wit a coconut.
Well, that's the thing. I do find a trespass, PC, but apparently, I think somebody was throwing coconuts at him. I just don't, unless I'm wrong.
Judge, do you find probable cause for battery?
Yes, I do.
It could be one count.
One count of battery, because it struck him in the shoulder. So I would find probable cause for a battery on count 1, and then the trespass. Mr. Smith, I see, are you homeless?
No, I'm not homeless. I ran away from home. I'm saying I have a place to stay.
You do?
It's just that I'm out here, you know what I'm saying, working and staying with certain girlfriends and friends and stuff.
I believe right now, in speaking with Mr. Smith, he advised me that he's staying with a friend in Palm Beach.
Okay, so you would, if you were released, you'd have a place to stay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, state, what I intended to do was to ROR him to pretrial release with him reporting and no contact with the alleged victim. I mean, if you guys file something else, that's a different story, you know, as far as the filing of the information. Okay, so I'm going to release him on his own recognizance on all 3 counts. He's going to be supervised by pretrial release. He is to report in person once a week. He is not to ingest any alcohol or drugs during the period of probation. He's to be randomly tested twice a month. And he is to have no contact in any form or manner with Joshua Ruiz and Robert Ruiz. Okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Judge,
Yes.
can you give me a couple of seconds? I just want to explain to him as far as pretrial, okay?
Okay. That is standard pretrial. Deputy Randall, did you know we lost both our prosecutors? Both.
Judge Brown is about to.
I'm sorry?
Judge Brown is about to.
Really? Mr. Romero, you all right?
I'm fine.
Okay.
We're ready to proceed, Judge.
Bain Andre?
Judge, Mr. Andres is here present. He's trying to serve public defense.
Okay, Mr. Bain, you're here charged with driving while license suspended. It is alleged it is your 3rd or subsequent offense. That is a 3rd-degree felony. I find probable cause. Your bond is $750. You also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outstanding capiouses in which the judge has set no bond. On 4 of them, there's no bond, on 1 of them, there's 250. So you have a total of $1,000 bond, and you're being held no bond. You're scheduled to appear before the judge on January 16th at 1:30 PM and on January 9th at 8:30 PM. Okay, sir? Thank you. Antonio Mendez? Mr. Mendez, good morning, sir. You are charged with giving false information to a law enforcement officer and resisting or obstructing without violence. The obstructing, I think, from my reading here, is the obstructing in the investigation. I find probable cause. Your bond is a total of $100.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Willie Morris? Mr. Morris, you are charged with,
How you doing, sir?
good, how are you? You are charged with resisting or obstructing without violence. I find probable cause. Your bond is $100. You're also charged with driving while license suspended, but I did not see any indication of that in the PC affidavit. I see that it says you did not have your license on you, but it does not indicate that your license was suspended at that time, so I don't find probable cause on that. You're charged with disobeying the stop or yield sign. That is a civil infraction. It's not a criminal case. You're charged with operating without a valid license, and I find no probable cause because there's no mention that you did not have a license in the probable cause affidavit. You're ROR'd on all those counts that I just mentioned, but you're being held no bond on a violation of probation. You're set before the judge on January 10th at 2 p.m., and you have an out-of-state hold on you with no bond, which is from Minnesota, and you're being held no bond on that, okay? Thank you,
Judge,
sir.
the only question we have is on his VOP, who's the judge he's gonna be seeing on January 10th?
January 10th.
It does not tell me. It looks like fleeing or eluding. It's Judge who?
FH, isn't it?
Say it again?
I'm looking, Judge.
Oh, okay.
Is it, do you have the case number? Yep. Thank you. Yep, January 10th, that's Judge Tobin Singer.
Judge Tobin Singer.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shear.
Can I give you the count number, the case number for count 6?
Okay, count 6.
Okay.
The out-of-state hold? Okay.
It's 150.
150.
62446.
Very good. I wrote it on there. And there you go. Thank you. Shane Mariano?
He's here present, Judge Amain?
Mr. Mariano, it appears to me that you are here charged with 3 counts of burglary of an unoccupied structure unarmed and a grand theft. From my review of your file, it appears that Judge Destry has found probable cause, and he has set bonds on these cases of $1,500 on the one burglary unoccupied dwelling, and on the other burglary of an unoccupied dwelling, he set a $1,000 bond on the grand theft and the other burglary. Okay? So you'll have to appear before him. Okay?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry? Right. Oh, that's true, right. Right. Can I help you, sir? Are you? Okay. All right. Adam Andujar?
He's here, President Main, Judge.
Mr. Andujar, you are charged with battery on a law enforcement officer, disorderly conduct, resisting or obstructing with violence, trespass, battery on a police officer, and a second or third count of battery on a police officer. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit, and I find probable cause on all of the 6 counts. Your bond presently on the disorderly conduct is $100, and on the trespass is $25, and I will hear argument regarding bond on the other counts.
Judge, in speaking with Mr. Andujar, he's 35 years old, he's not working, he gets disability. He informed me he lives in Margate. Judge, financially, he advised me that there's no one that can post his bond. He would like to be released on pretrial release, if pretrial can verify his address.
And he lives in Margate. Who does he live with?
He lives by himself, Judge.
Are you working, sir?
No, he's not working, Judge.
Mr. Andujar, are you presently under treatment for any kind of mental illness or emotional illness? Are you in treatment with a doctor? I'm sorry?
I receive medication, if that's what.
Judge, yes, he does have mental health issues, and I believe that's the basic
Right.
disability he's receiving.
Right, right.
He had a prior battery, Your Honor, last year and a resisting without violence.
Okay,
They were both
thank you.
withholds, Judge. State would ask for a standard bond.
Mr. Andujar, do you have a private attorney?
No, I requested a public defender.
Okay. Do you have family in the area?
I don't speak with them.
He doesn't speak with his family.
Right.
I don't know.
Since this is a felony, I can't send this to Judge, has to go through the process. What is the state's recommendation? Standard bond?
Yeah, Judge, $1,500 on the felony counts, so count 1, 5 and 6.
Mr. Andujar, what kind of bond can you make?
I'm not paying bond.
Wow, okay. This is what I'm gonna try, okay? Mr. Andujar, here's what I'm gonna try with you, all right? I'm gonna release you on your own recognizance on all the counts, but into the custody and supervision of pretrial release. Do you understand that? And I'm going to put a monitor on you, and you have to remain home unless it's gonna be level 2 with a monitor. And you're to remain home unless you're going to see a physician, or an attorney, okay, or if you're going to work. Other than that, you have to remain home with the monitor. If you violate that, you're gonna be back here.
House arrest.
For how long?
Until this case is
60 days?
resolved. Until this case is resolved. Is he, what's the situation, Mr. Romero? Is,
I understand. We're gonna probably take the appropriate steps on our end. And we'll-
okay, excellent, okay. And, yes, did you have something? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Reedy, could you note that on your stats?
I already have, Mr. Romero.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy.
Jerry Aguilar? Mr. Aguilar, good morning, sir. You are presently charged with possession of cocaine within 1,000 feet. I guess it's a convenience store, right? You're also charged with possession of heroin. You're also charged with possession of cannabis within 1,000 feet of a convenience store. You're also charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and tampering with physical evidence. I find probable cause on all 5 counts.
Your Honor, the defendant is currently being supervised by pretrial services in case 17-14427 CF10A, 1 count of possession with intent to sell cocaine, 1 count of possession with intent to sell cannabis, and 2 counts of operating without a valid. We're gonna ask that based on this court's finding of probable cause in the instant case, that his pretrial status be revoked at this time.
I'm going to grant that. And Mr. Aguilar, your bonds on the present case are $7,500 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2, $5,000 on count 3, $100 on count 4, and $1,000 on count 5.
Judge, I understand Your Honor, went ahead and revoked pretrial. You imposed the standard bonds on the 5 cases that are here before you. Our request is gonna be in reference to the case that he's currently out on pretrial on 17-14427 CF10A. Judge, my understanding is he was on standard pretrial. By you revoking it and holding him no bond, that's the most severe sanction, pretrial detention, the court could impose. I'd ask you to consider something, less, strict. I'd ask you, to consider level 2 with the monitor. He's currently working, he works for U-Haul. He supports his 3-year-old child. He has shared parental responsibility. He's not the primary residential parent. The child does not live with him, but he supports the child financially. So I'd ask you to consider leaving the standard bonds in place on the counts 1 through 5, but on the case that he's out on, heightening the level of supervision from standard to level 2 with the monitor.
That motion is denied. I'm going to leave my order intact, and he can take it up with the division judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Christopher Schulte?
It's a medical reset, Judge.
Okay. Do you want me to write that on here? Okay. Jerry Howard?
He's here present, Judge?
Good, sir. Mr. Howard, you are charged with grand theft auto. I find probable cause. Your bond is $1,000 on that count. You're charged with petty theft. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find no probable cause for that. Operating without a valid license, I find no probable cause. Attaching a registration or license plate not assigned, I find probable cause. Your bond is $25. But you're being held no bond on a violation of parole on 9/9/0074.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be set before the judge, okay? Thank you, sir. Jude Shirelis?
Good morning, George.
Good morning, Mr. Shirelis. Mr. Shirelis, you're charged with aggravated battery on a police officer. I find probable cause. You're charged with grand theft of between $20,000 and $100,000. I don't find probable cause on that count. I find probable cause on the grand theft auto, and I find probable cause of resisting or obstructing without violence. Your bond is presently set on the grand theft auto of $1,000 and the resisting officer of $100, and I'll hear argument on the aggravated battery on a police officer regarding the bond.
Judge, in reference to count 1, speaking of Mr. Shirelis, we'd be asking you to consider a $2,000 bond on count 1. That along with count 3, as far as $1,000 and count 4, $3,100 bond would you feel is something Mr. Shirelis could reasonably afford as far as his mother posting his bond. His mom is retired. Mr. Shirelis lives with his mother in Hollywood. They've been residing at the same location for about 20 years. He works in construction, making about $10.50 an hour. So therefore, he financially can't afford to post his bond. He's going to be relying on his mom, and that's why the request we've made is $2,000.
So you want the total to be $2,000?
No, just for count 1, Judge.
2,000, what about count 2?
1,000 on count 2.
What about on count 3?
1,000 on count 3.
Okay, so 2,000, 1,000, and 100.
Correct, Judge.
Okay. Just give me 1 second, State. Just
Judge, yeah, the state would request a $5,000 bond on count 1.
on count 1? Okay, just give me a second. Okay. What I'm going to do is grant the defendant's motion. I'm going to set a bond on count one of $2,000. Release him on his own recognizance on count two because I don't find probable cause. Grant theft auto 1,000 and resisting or obstructing without violence 100. If he posts a bond, he's going to be released into the supervision of level 2 pretrial release with a monitor.
Judge, I'm sorry, for the record, he has a pending case in Miami now. It's a possession of cocaine.
Okay. All right, thank you, everybody.
My understanding is Mr. Sherless, in reference to that outstanding case in Miami, he said it's already been closed.
Okay. Okay.
Judge, one request, I know I'm speaking to Mr. Sherless, would you consider deleting the aspect as far as pretrial and straight monetary bond, potentially raising it from $2,000 to $3,500 on count one?
No. Thank you.
And Your Honor, you did say no PC ROR count two, correct?
That is correct.
So he's only being placed on count 1, 3, and 4.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Judge, our last request is would you sign a photo order allowing us to photograph Mr. Sherless' injuries?
Yes, I would.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Paul Guerrero?
Mr. Guerrero, he's approaching, Judge. He's defined to serve as a public defender.
Mr. Guerrero, you're being held no bond on 2 violations of probation from 2014. You're scheduled to appear before Judge Merrigan on January 9th at 8:45 a.m.
I have a question.
Yes, sir?
When I was getting processed, they told me I had an ROR. They gave me a bond. That's what I'm saying. They gave me a bond.
The only thing I have in front of me, sir, is the 2 no bonds on 2 violations of probation.
Judge,
2 separate cases.
I see $1,200 bonds on the paperwork that I have for the 2 violations of probation.
Yes.
Wait a minute. I'm having difficulty hearing because of the noise from the main jail. Mr. Romero? Mr. Romero?
Yes.
Excuse me, sir?
I'm having a very difficult time hearing everybody because of the noise from the main jail. I would just ask everybody there just to keep it down a little bit. I know that you want to talk, but if you'll whisper, it'll help me a great deal.
Okay.
Okay?
No problem, Judge.
Thank you. And what was the state saying?
$1,200, there's a $1,200 bond on the paperwork I have for each violation of probation.
Oh, you're right. I apologize. You are correct. Thank you, State. You have a $1,200 bond on each of the violations of probation for a total of $2,400. Okay, if you don't post the bond, you'll see the judge on January 9th. Okay? Thank you, Ms. Scher. Renard Stinson?
Mr. Simpson's here present, Judge?
Okay. Mr. Stinson, you are charged with driving while license suspended. They're alleging a third or subsequent offense, which is a third-degree felony. Your bond is presently $750.
Judge, in speaking to Mr. Stinson, what he's advised me is he's gotten his driver's license taken care of and that his driver's license should be valid. I don't know if you have his driver's license record that could verify that.
I have a Renard Jamal Stinson with a date of birth of 12/23/87. It says that it is suspended. He was habitualized in 2009 for 5 years. He was suspended in 2012 for 30 days for 12 points within 12 months. He was habitualized again in 2012 for 5 years. Effective date, October 17th, 2012. And it does not indicate that he has ever reinstated his license. Okay, thank you, sir.
That's fine, Judge. I did inform him he has paperwork to the contrary, so he'll be providing that to his attorney. He's applied for the public defender's office.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Kristen Veracluk.
Mr. Veracruz is here present.
Mr. Veracluk, you are charged with possession of cocaine, a third-degree felony. Your bond is set at $1,000. I've read the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. Okay?
Judge, Mr. Veracruz, he's asking me to ask you, if you would consider a straight ROR, in his situation, considering this is a nonviolent offense. From what he told me, at this time, it's not a matter that he can't afford it, but right now he's working, he doesn't get paid till, I believe, tomorrow, so that's when he'll have the funds available to him. So he's asking if Your Honor would consider a straight ROR.
I will ROR him to the supervision of pretrial release with no drugs or alcohol and random testing.
And then he'll keep the monetary bond in place, Judge.
No, okay. Very good. Thank you. Tracy Smith?
It's a medical reset, Your Honor.
Okay.
It's a no bond.
Teferrell Gordon.
Judge, I'm sorry about this. Mr. Veracruz, he's asking Your Honor if you would, he's willing to accept Your Honor's standard pretrial.
All right, on Mr. Veracluk, what I will do then is I will release him on his own recognizance on the possession of cocaine.
Yes, ma'am. Well, excuse me, sir, will I be on, all right.
Go ahead, sir, ask me.
Would I be on the ankle monitor?
No,
All right,
okay.
all right.
Judge, if we may, he has a strong arm robbery out of Miami. We're pulling it out now.
That he's being held no bond on?
That's settled. I just got out.
He was
I settled that.
adjudicated. It was in 2017.
Okay.
And he has several drug priors.
Okay, so on Mr. Veracluk, I will ROR him to standard pretrial release. He is to report in person once a month, by phone every week, and he is to not ingest any alcohol or drugs without a prescription, and he'll be randomly tested twice a month.
All right. Yes, sir.
Now we're with Mr. Gordon. Mr. Gordon, you're charged with 2 counts of burglary of an unoccupied conveyance unarmed. I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find probable cause. I will hear argument on regarding bond. You're also being held on 3 separate misdemeanors. Actually, looks like they're county ordinance violations, and your bond has been set at $50 on each of those, for a total of $150. And it looks like that's from Jane Fishman. And I'm trying to determine what the violations were, and it doesn't say. Would anybody know that?
I can look, Judge.
Just give me a moment. Yeah, okay, I don't have it.
Yeah. Okay. On the 17-1115 CO38 case, there was a KPS at arraignment.
Does it say what the charge is, though?
Oh, I'm sorry, what the ordinance is?
Right.
Yes, I can look. So on the 1115 case, it was soliciting for money.
Soliciting, okay.
Yes. And then on the, let's see, on the 1108 case, also soliciting for money.
All right.
The 1047 case. soliciting.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Gordon, on each of those county ordinance cases, the allegation is that you were soliciting for money without a permit, okay? That's from Judge Fishman. And Mr. Romero, as to the burglaries, which are involving 2 automobiles.
Judge, Mr. Gordon is right now, he's not working, he's collecting a disability. He's been residing here his whole life. He lives in Lauderhill. He resides with his girlfriend. They've been residing at the same apartment for about 6 years now. So Judge, considering financially he doesn't have the resources to post any sort of monetary bond, would your honor consider placing Mr. Gordon on pretrial release?
State?
The state would ask for a standard bond, $1,000.
Okay. What I'm going to do is he gonna post the $150?
I don't think he's in a position to be able to afford that, Judge.
Does he want to resolve those today?
Well, that would be between you and him, county ordinance case. I have no
Okay.
stake in the matter.
Mr. Gordon, would you like to resolve those 3 ordinance violation of the county ordinance cases?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody forcing you to do that?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any kind of drugs or alcohol today?
No, sir.
Have you ever been treated for a mental illness?
No, sir.
Do you understand you're waiving your right both to a trial and to an attorney in all 3 of those cases?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest in each of the 3 cases to soliciting on a public highway without a permit?
Yes, sir.
The court's going to accept your pleas on all 3 cases, find that it's freely and voluntarily given. The court's going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to time served on each of the cases. I must, by law, order $100 in court costs on each of the 3 cases for a total of $300, and I'm going to give you a year to pay each of those, okay?
Yes, sir.
As to the burglaries, what I'm going to do is, where do you presently live, Mr. Gordon? What's your address?
I'm going through something with my girlfriend right now. 4051 in Nottingham. Northeast 21st Court in Nottingham.
And what's 5315 Northwest 21st Court in Lauderhill? What's that?
That's it. 5015.
I think he gave a different address before.
He gave a different road.
Right.
5015 Northwest 21st Court in Nottingham.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance on both of those counts. But are you working?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to release you to pretrial release, level 2 with a monitor. And you have to verify an address with pretrial before you are released. You understand that? You have to give them a phone number and somebody there to verify that you would be living there.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
Judge, considering he's on disability and not working, would you waive the costs associated with the monitor, the $5 a day?
I will.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, I'm gonna make it level 2. And do you need anything else from me? Okay, thank you, everybody. Okay, Dakota Hayes.
He's approaching, Judge.
Mr. Hayes, you are charged with possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I find probable cause. Your bond is $100. You're also charged with possession of MDMA, otherwise known as ecstasy. I find probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. On count 3, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine. I find probable cause. Your bond is $1,000. You're also charged with leaving the scene of an accident with property damage. Your bond is $100. I find probable cause. And I find probable cause that you failed to stop or remain in an accident involving non-serious injury. And I'm going to ROR you on that count. Okay, so your bond is a total of $2,200. Can you make that, sir?
I believe so. If I can access, if I can get a hold of somebody to access my money.
Okay, well, do you have a cell phone in your property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will sign an order permitting you to have access to your cell phone so that you can call your family to post your bond.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Wevens Lalit, or Lalite? How do you say your name, sir? What is it? Lalit? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lalit, you're charged with possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I find probable cause. You're also charged with possession of MDMA. I find probable cause your bond is 1,000. I'm going to ROR you on the possession of cannabis. Okay?
And he's gonna be contacting a friend to post his bond, Judge.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Okay, we have George Davis. Mr. Davis, you're charged with a simple battery. Your bond is $1,000. I find probable cause on that count. You're also charged in counts 2 through 8 with possession of weapon or ammo by a convicted felon. I find probable cause. What they're talking about here is both the gun itself and then the bullets that were found in the gun. So I'm going to set a bond of $1,000 on the possession of a weapon or ammo by a convicted felon on count 2. I'm going to ROR you on counts 3 through 8. All right, you're also charged with possession of alprazolam, otherwise known as Xanax. I find probable cause, your bond is 1,000. You're also charged with possession with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver cannabis, possession of cannabis over 20 grams, I find probable cause. In each of those counts, you have a $1,000 bond. And then you're charged with attaching a registration license plate not assigned. I find probable cause, your bond is $25. So your total bond is $5,025. Okay, sir?
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Sorry, Judge, the state requests no contact.
With whom?
Nikisha Blackwood.
Let me see that. Oh, on the
The
battery?
Judge.
Mr. Davis, you are not to have any contact as a condition of your bond with Nikisha Blackwood, okay? Is it necessary for you to have contact with her?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Sign? Both pages, right? Oh, I signed that one, I didn't sign the front one.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Walter Montez?
Mr. Montez is approaching, Judge. From what he informed me, Judge, at this time, he spoke to his wife. His wife, I guess, hired private counsel. He doesn't know the name. He gave me the phone number of his wife, so I'd ask you to reset this for this afternoon so I could call his wife during lunch and find out who's the attorney and have him or her appear here at 1:30.
Not a problem. Mr. Montez will reset your case for 1 o'clock, okay?
Oh, 1 o'clock, I'm sorry.
1 o'clock. And Kendi Brias? Mr. Brias, good morning, sir. You are charged with carrying a concealed firearm. I find probable cause your bond is $1,000.
Judge, Mr. Brias has advised me he can't afford the monetary bond. He lives in Miramar with his parents. He's asking, Your Honor, if you would consider releasing him on pretrial.
Any objections, State? I'm sorry?
One moment, he might have a pending case. He has a pending case, Your Honor.
Okay, and what case number is that?
17 12101 CF 10A.
It's in front of Judge McCarthy.
Judge McCarthy or robbery?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Brias, I am finding that while you were out on pretrial release on 17-12101 CF10A with Judge, who was it?
McCarthy.
Judge McCarthy, for a robbery, that you've committed another criminal offense. I am revoking your bond sui sponte on that case. and any pretrial release, and holding you, no bond, and on the carry and concealed firearm, you have a $1,000 bond. Thank you. Antoine Goss. Mr.
Judge, he declined the service of public defender.
Okay, Mr. Goss, do you have an attorney, a private attorney on this case? You're charged with attempt murder in the first degree.
Yeah, I already came down here, Your Honor, but, yes, I do have an attorney, but he haven't been here to see me, because of, health problems, I'm gonna say it like that.
What's his name?
Louis Petrano, I think it is.
No, it's Louis
Perante.
Peranti.
Perante, okay, Perante, I couldn't pronounce the last one. That's it, sir.
Okay. Wasn't Louis Peranti here the other day on this case? Or was that on a different case? Do you want me to reset this for one?
I came up here, Your Honor, listen, I flew, from Maryland, with the U.S. Marshals. I got here on December the 9th. I went to magistrate court on the 10th, and, they said premeditated, but, Your Honor, who was presiding over in the bench up there, she said, don't worry about the premeditated, it's just first degree, attempted murder. But when I looked on the chaos last night, they got me charged under first degree murder. And they just changed it yesterday because I'm checking it.
It's a change of charge, Your Honor, and the Judge Porter already found proof evidence for presumption of great on the attempted. They just, when they get charged, when they get picked up on a murder case, so, but it's attempted.
Okay.
So, it's a no bond.
Okay, Mr. Goss, at the present time, you're being held no bond. Judge,
But what about, okay, go ahead, Your Honor, sorry about the question.
Judge Porter has already found proof evident. You're to be held no bond, and I can assure you that I am looking at the documents. You're not being charged with premeditated murder. You're being charged with attempted murder in the first degree. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Now, one more thing, Your Honor, one more thing. Now, they just gave me an ad charge yesterday.
No, that's not accurate. It was a change of charge.
It's a change of charge. It's not an ad charge.
I'm talking about with the possession of firearm by violent career criminal.
Oh, I do see that here. Do you see that?
Is it KPS?
It was a KPS, Judge.
But it's not on the docket, is it?
No.
Bond is
No,
ridiculous.
No,
but
it's not for,
there's a
yeah.
note here. It's for a different case.
Yeah, that's a different case, Your Honor, and a bond is already set for $250,000.
That is, there's apparently,
250,000. That's ridiculous, Your Honor.
apparently,
That's upset.
the only case in front of me, sir, today is the attempt murder in the first degree. What I'm being informed is that you have another case, possession of firearm by a violent career criminal with a $250,000 bond. You're gonna have to wait to go before the division judge on that, okay?
All right,
Mr.
no problem.
Perante, I'm sure will come see you. Is this some,
Yeah,
oh.
thank you.
Cassian Gray?
North Broward.
North Broward, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Gray?
Yes, sir.
You are here because they changed the charge from burglary of an unoccupied structure unarmed to attempt burglary of an unoccupied structure unarmed. I would think that would be a third-degree felony.
Yes,
No,
Judge.
I am not. It is a third-degree felony. And I don't think that bond has been set on that.
The bond is 5,000.
The bond,
$5,000, Judge.
5,000. Okay, your bond is $5,000, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Matthew McKenzie?
Conti?
It's 5,000. Okay, Mr. McKenzie, you are here because your charge of false imprisonment has been changed. I'm sorry, it's been changed from domestic battery by strangulation to false imprisonment.
You know, Judge, when I looked at this earlier, it seemed to me as though these were domestic violence charges. I don't know if the state has had an opportunity to review that issue.
No, but I'll look up the case now.
Your Honor,
Yes.
we're showing that, this has already been addressed by Judge Cohen.
bond has already been set along with the pretrial.
Okay, and what is the amount of the bond, does it say?
The count, the two is 10,000. Plus pretrial.
Is that your understanding, Mr. McKenzie?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you, sir.
He should not have even been on today's docket.
Okay,
Because we need to write another order, but the division judge has already done it.
yeah, we can just delete it from the docket today, it should not be on the docket. What about Siobhan Salmon?
Main jail.
Mr. Salmon's approaching, Judge?
Okay, if I remember, this is the, just give me a second.
He's been a medical reset the last 2 days.
Right, and I just want to make sure that I've got the correct factual scenario in my mind, where this involves President Trump, am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Selman, you are here charged with murder in the first degree, premeditated murder. I have reviewed the probable cause affidavit. I find that proof is evident, and you're going to be held no bond until you go before the division judge. Okay? Thank you.
Judge, at this time, we'd be invoking Mr. Salmon's right to remain silent and not be questioned by law enforcement officers without counsel present.
Okay, thank you. And Tavares Young?
Still a medical reset, Your Honor.
Medical reset, Tavares Young. And we're down to James Davis,
Medical reset.
medical reset. And the last one is Andrew Marold,
Medical?
medical reset. Okay. So we have completed the docket for the morning. This, I believe, is the state's. This also, I believe, is the state's. So we'll be in recess, and everybody wants to come back at 1, right? Okay, so we'll see everybody at 1.